Hello, my dear all students. Welcome back to our channel G.M.Mahuva Online Education. I hope you all are fine and safe at your home. So, my dear all students, today our new poem, we are going to start that poem. And what's the name of the poem? The Trees. So, we know that in 7th unit, 3 different stories we had finished already, Glimpse of India, and here we have the poem The Trees. So who is the poet? So first we will see that who is the poet and about the poet. So Adrian Reach, she is our poet of this poem The Trees. So she was born on 1929 and her living duration 1929 to 2012, and she was born in Baltimore, Maryland, USA. So she was a famous poet, essayist, and feminist. So here we come to know that Adrienne Reed, she was not only poet, but she had written so many essays about different kinds of topics, and she is also feminist. So maybe she had written so many essays regarding feminism, right? So here you can see the glance of the poet Adrienne Reed. She has published 19 volumes of poetry, 3 collection of essays and other writings. So she has published 19 volumes of poetry. So whenever she had written poetry, so she had total 19 volumes whatever she had published. So total 19 volumes of poetry and 3 collections of essays. Means different kinds of topics she had written. So she had collections of her essays too, and other writings also she had about the topic or any column. So what this lesson wants to tell us, what this poem wants to tell us, introduction to the lesson, the poem has a symbolic meaning. The trees are an extended metaphor for women. The poet says that the women have rested, healed, and recovered and are ready for their primary purpose to renew the empty forest of mankind. So, here, what this poet or what this poem wants to tell us, so let me tell you that whatever the poem is there, not just this poem but whatever you take any poem, so if you will read that poem, so you will get any other idea. If I will read that poem, so I will get other idea. So we can't say any particular thing that yes, the poet wants to tell us this particular thing. Without asking her or him, we can't decide that what the poet wants to tell us. So we can just identify, or we can take any information or any meaning from that poem, right? So if you are the reader, so you can read this poem and you can translate, means you can get any message from that poem. But before reading, first of all we should know that what the poet wants to tell us actually. What is the history behind this? Is there any symbolism behind this? So here in this poem The Trees, the poet wants to tell us, or the poet has symbolically just told something about the trees. Okay, so what is the symbolism? So here the women, so extended metaphor for women. The poet says, what the poet says, that the women have rested, healed, and recovered and are ready for their primary purpose. What? To renew the empty forest for mankind. So how the women feels, how the woman should do, how the what's the what is the importance or what is the condition of woman is there. So the poet has nicely described. Of course, the poet is female, so feminist also she was. So she has described this very nicely. So let's see first what the poet wants to tell us. So here our the poem The Trees is there. Here I have the PDF. So if you don't have your textbook, just have a glance of this page. Okay, so the trees. Can there be a forest without trees? No, we can't imagine any forest without trees. So we get this answer in our mind. Where are the trees in this poem and where do they go? So let's see what happens and why the poet is asking like this. So we'll go stanza by stanza. So this poem, The Trees, 1, 2, 3 and 4 stanza. So this poem is divided into 4 stanzas. The trees inside are moving out into the forest. The forest that was empty all these days, where no bird could sit, no insect hide, no sun bury its feet in shadow. The forest that was empty all these nights will be full of trees by morning. So, what the poet wants to tell us, the trees inside are moving out into the forest. So, the trees inside are moving. How the trees are moving? So, here one figure of speech is used here. So, you have to find it out first. The trees inside are moving out into the forest. So, they are moving out into the forest. The trees are moving. The forest that was empty all these days. Why the forest is empty all these days? Because we are cutting the trees. So no bird could sit there and no insect could hide. No sun bury its feet in shadow. So we can't see that kind of shadow sun from the trees because trees are not there. So the forest that was empty all these nights, as well as nights also there were not any forest. It was totally empty all these nights, will be full of trees by morning. So how the poet wants to tell us this? The second stanza, all night the roots work to disengage themselves from the cracks. In the veranda floor, the leaves strain towards the glass. Small twigs stiff with exertion, long cramped boards shuffling under the roof like newly discharged patients, half dazed, moving to the clinic doors. So, here how the trees are moving. यहाँ पर the poet wants to tell us कि कैसे trees move करते हैं, and here the poet has compared trees with women, the life of trees with the life of women. All nights the roots work, right, to disengage themselves. उसे कैसे वर्क में रहना है, disengage themselves from the cracks in the veranda floor. So how they are engaging with their work in the veranda room. So how they are separating themselves. Then the leaves strain towards the glass. So how they are giving the effort to them. The leaves strain means leaves are giving them efforts towards the glass. Small twigs stiff with exertion. So how they are giving them efforts to move here to there. Long cramped boards shuffling under the roof like newly discharged patients, half days moving to the clinic door. सो यहाँ पर जैसे वुमेन पूरे दिन सफ़र होती है या फिर ऐसा कुछ हीलिंग होता है उसके साथ, वैसा ही ट्रीज के साथ होता है. सो दिस सिम्बॉलिज्म इज यूज्ड हियर. द पोएट हैज़ यूज्ड दैट symbolism here. Half dazed, moving to the clinic doors. I sit inside doors open to the veranda, writing long letters. I sit inside. Who sit inside? And then doors open to the veranda. So here the door is opening to the veranda and writing long letters in which I scarcely mention the departure of the forest from the house. Where's the departure and house writing? The night is fresh, the whole moon shines in a sky still open. The smell of leaves and lichen still reaches like a voice into the rooms. So how they are doing, how the woman is working in her home, in which I scarcely mention the departure. So here the departure is mentioned of the forest from the house, from the forest, from the house to the forest. And what is the next? The night is fresh. The whole moon shines in a sky still open. The smell of leaves and lichen. So which kind of smell is coming there? So what could be happen and what could be not happen? So that is mentioned here. Then my head is full of whispers. So they just want to tell her something. So my head is full of whispers, which tomorrow will be silent. So right now it wants to tell something, but tomorrow it will be silent. Listen, the glass is breaking. The trees are stumbling forward into the night. Winds rush to meet them. The moon is broken like a mirror. Its pieces flash now in the crown of the tallest oak. So oak is a plant, kind of plant which is very tall. So here the poet has compared it, and the moon is broken like a mirror. So the poet has used so many figures of speech in this poem: metaphor, personification, enjambment. You can see here. So in the very first stanza, the poet has used enjambment very carefully. There is not any single full stop in the very 3 to 4 lines. So that is our enjambment. Right? So in the last stanza, my head is full of whispers. So on that time it wants to tell her something. Whisper means just to tell something very silently in anybody's ears, and which will be silent tomorrow. So listen, the glass is breaking. So this kind of sound, this kind of voice is coming. The glass is breaking, trees are stumbling forward into the nights, then winds rush to meet them. The moon is broken like a mirror. So this kind of comparison or any personification is used here. So in this poem, the trees, the poet, who's the poet, Adrian Rich, has compared trees. So she just want to convey with us about women, the condition of women and the condition of trees are similar. Like women are also healing, they are also suffering like the trees, because nowadays we are saying that there is not any trees in the forest. So Adrienne Rich was born in Baltimore, Maryland, USA in 1929. She is the author of the nearly 20 volumes of poetry, 19 to 20 volumes of poetry, and has been called a feminist and a radical poet. So feminist means she has written so many poems or essay about feminism, right? So that's why she is feminist and radical poet also. Okay. So here you can see the new words here. Disengage means remove. Strain means pressurize. So how the women are pressurized and how the trees are also pressurized. Twigs means small stem. Extortion, effort, to give effort to someone. Cramped means restricted, both are restricted. Bots means branch. Shuffling means mixing. Discharged, send out. Dazed means stern. Whispers means murmur. Stumbling means trip over. Flash means shine or glare. Oak, a large, strong tree generally used for making furniture. So, oak is used to make any furniture. So, here you can see some new words here. So, this is new words you can compare with trees as well as women. So, in your homework, you have to write down this all new words in your fair book and just find out the rhyming words from this whole poem. Okay, so that is your homework. Okay, students, so write down this all new words 3 times and find out the rhyming word. Just listen me very carefully. Just find out rhyming words from the poem and send it to me on time. Okay? Thank you, my dear all students. So if you find any difficulty regarding this poem, you all are free to ask me. Thank you.